I am here with Yanina Noboa. Good morning, Yanina. I think you are still mute.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Good
sorry,
morning,
muted.
Yanina.
Good morning, Yanina.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you today?
Very excited to be part of this special day, Customer Day. And I really hope that you enjoy this presentation. It's made actually for you, our special customers.
Yes, thank you, Yanina. Thank you so much. You might not know Yanina yet because Yanina has recently joined Consensus, and I think of Yanina as the ideal consultant for anybody in the finance module in SAP Business One. Yanina has more than 10 years as an accountant using SAP Business One. And the other thing that makes her the ideal consultant is that she loves to help. And that's something that you can see when you see her work, you know that she's really enjoying helping other users. So for all accountants out there, Yanina is your champion consultant because she really understands your point of view, the need to have everything tidy and neat, the reporting. She really gets that, and I'm sure that you're going to really enjoy working with her. She has prepared this presentation on the check printing process, which is a process that generates a lot of questions. Each system is different, and SAP is, of course, different from other systems that you might have used before. So I invite you to enjoy this session that Yanina has prepared with a lot of love for you. And both Yanina and myself, we are going to now turn off the video so that we can enjoy the presentation that Yanina prepared. And then if you have any questions, please use the Q&A section in Zoom. Thank you.
Welcome. Today, I'm going to walk you through how to print checks in SAP Business One. Before printing checks, we have to consider proper configuration in order to avoid any issues when printing checks, especially if you are a new user. In order to show you that, we go to Module section, we select Administration, System Initialization, and Print Preferences. Here in this document, in the Per Document tab, we have to make sure that the document field, the check for payment, is selected, as well as the check stock and overflow check stock and maximum lines is predefined. So what does that mean? It means that my first printed document is going to print a maximum number of lines that in this case is 10. And my second printed document will contain the remaining lines if the payment exceeds 10 lines. Now we have to make sure that the bank account we're going to utilize for the payment is properly set up. How we're going to do that? We're going to actually go to the module section again, Administration, Setup, Banking, House Bank Account. Here, as you see, we have all the different bank accounts that the company has. The one that I'm going to utilize is the first one, in this case, Bank of New York. And I just want to make sure the Bank of New York has account number. It has the next check number, the GL account assigned to Bank of New York, and also that the template name has a selection. In this case, we're going to select Stop Check Stop, which is the most common one. Once we verify proper configuration, we can start with the check printing process. So in order to do that, we have to go to the module section. We're going to select Banking, outgoing payments again. And in order to make the actual payment, we have to pay an invoice. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to go here and select one vendor out of the list of business partners. And we're going to select Acme Associates. As you see, there is no invoices displayed. The reason why is probably because this vendor has multiple branches. So we have to select one in order to have all the invoices displayed. So we're going to select San Antonio. And now you see all the invoices displayed. Now in the selected column, you can either select one invoice for the payment or several invoices for the payment. So we're going to select only one. And we're going to go here to the total payment field. And you can either make a partial pay, or you can just make the entire amount, the payment for the entire amount. But for the purpose of this example, we're just going to pay in partial payment. So we're going to enter 2,000, tab. And now we have to make sure that this total amount for this payment is the same as the total amount due here. So these two has to match. Once I verify that, we have to go to my payment means, to our payment means, sorry. So it can be selected from here. You can actually right click and select it from here, or you can go to the toolbar and select it from there. So we're going to select it here next to the amount to make the payment. So in this amount column, we are going to bring up the total amount due, which is in 2,000 in this case. You can either copy and paste, or you can hit Control V, tab, and now we have the payment amount of 2,000. And we're going to utilize Bank of New York, which has its account number, GL account number, and we are all set. Now we're going to hit OK. We're going to add the payment. Okay, so now the system is going to prompt me a message. This message is reminding me that you cannot change this document after you added it or continue. So I'm aware of it. So now we're going to hit add. So now once we have made the payment, we can actually print the check. For that, we can go to check for payments. We're going to bring the previous record, which is the last invoice that I paid. In this case is 2,000 for my vendor Acme Associates. And as you see, I don't have any check number yet because I haven't printed yet. Now we're going to preview my printed document. In order to do that, I have to select the preview icon from my toolbar. So let's check that. Okay, so remember in the house bank account, we selected the stop check stop, which is the most common one. So here we have the invoice number that we paid. We have the invoice date, the total amount I paid, when I pay it, the vendor code, which is ADME. And in the middle of the document, we have the actual check. And the third portion of the document, which is the last one, is the same information as the one above. Okay, so since we verified that, we close this window, and now we're going to print the actual check. How? We're going to go to the print icon here from the toolbar. We're going to select it. And now have another message, which is basically reminding me that to make sure that I have a stock paper in my printer for this particular bank account, Bank of New York, and that my next check number is 1031. I have to choose OK when it's ready or cancel to stop printing. But since everything is OK, I just hit OK. Now I'm going to select the printer from here. Okay, now I have a box or a window. It's called check number confirmation. Here we have the column that is called print status, which has 4 options. So our first option is unconfirmed. This is assigned by default. Something very important to mention is the check number of an unconfirmed check can no longer be used unless you reset the print status to not printed. The next option is confirmed. This one indicates the check is printed properly, so it's nothing wrong with the check. Everything is good with the check, and we select confirmed. The next one is a damage check. This one indicates that this is a damaged check and can no longer be used. So I put the check paper in my printer and got stuck, and so it got damaged, so I can use it no more. The following one is the not printed option. Here, you can actually reissue the check with this option or reprint the check with this option. For instance, I have printer number 1 and printer number 2. Printer number 1 is my default printer. So what happened is when I was ready to print the check, I actually put the check stock paper on my printer number 2. So when I print the check was actually printed on the number 1 printer, which is the default printer, and it printed in a blank paper. So for that reason, I can still use the check paper because it's good. There are 2 factors that are very important to remember related to the not printed option is that if you change the status of a not printed check to confirmed, damaged, or unconfirmed, then the next check number is automatically assigned to it by default. And also, changing the status of a check to not printed enables you to reuse the number assigned in the check number field. How can you do that? Well, if you stay tuned, later on, I show you how to do it. So, but for the purpose of this practice, we're going to select confirm. Everything is good with the check. My check number is 1031 from Bank of New York. This is the account number and the posting date. So I hit update. And now, in order for me to see if the check is actually confirmed, we can actually go to the check register report. So we're going to go to the modules. We're going to go to reports. We're going to go to banking, and we're going to select check register report. So here, we just have to hit OK. You can, and also, I'm sorry, the display field, you have to select all checks. So you're going to see all checks printed, confirmed with the status. And now we're going to have the check register report. So we are going to look for my check number that I already printed and I already confirmed right here. You see? The check is actually printed is confirmed. 1031. Perfect. Sometimes, under certain circumstances, we have to handwrite a check, and that's okay. But we have to remember to post it into the system so we have the history of the manual check numbers. So let's pretend I have an invoice already entered into SAP, and we have to pay that invoice, and we use the manual check. So let me show you how to do that, how to post it into the system. So we're going to go to the module section and look for banking. We're going to go to outgoing payments again. We are going to select a vendor. In this case, is admin. We're going to select the San Antonio branch. Now we have all the invoices listed here. So we're going to select the first one, invoice 1062, and we're going to make a partial payment. We're going to enter in the total field $710. We're going to go to our payment means. We're going to bring up the amount that we're going to pay with pressing Control B, tab. And here in the manual column, in the manual check column, we're going to check off this box, and we're going to enter the check number that we use manually. So 1039. Tab. We're going to hit OK. We're going to add the payment. And we're going to tell the system that everything is okay with the document. We hit add. Okay. Notice that there's no check number confirmation window appears because there's no check to print. The system already assumed the manual check as printed. So I'm going to show you how this check shows, or the status of this check in the check register report. So we go to the modules again. We're going to go to reports. We're going to select the check register report. We're going to hit OK. And we're going to look for our check number that we just print manually, 1039. Here it is. Today's date for $710. Check number 1039, it shows as confirmed in the status column. So let's make several payments to show you how to print the checks through document printing. So we're going to go to banking, outgoing payments. Outgoing payments. We're going to select a vendor. We're going to select admin associates. We're going to select the branch, San Antonio. And we're going to select the first invoice, 1108. And we're going to make a partial payment. We're going to enter 1,000, tab. We're going to go to our payment means, bring up the amount, tab. We hit OK. We add the payment. We tell the system everything is okay with the document. We hit add. Okay, we're gonna make another payment. So we're gonna select another vendor. Let's select Laser.com. Okay, we're gonna select San Antonio. We're gonna choose the first invoice to make the payment, 402. And we're gonna pay $72.53. $72.53. We're gonna go to our payment means. We're gonna press Control V to bring up the amount. We press OK. We add the payment. We tell the system the document is Good, continue. Okay, so we finished making the payments. I already have two other payments that I made prior. So with those, plus these two that I already made, we have 4 payments. Okay, so we're gonna close this window and we're gonna go to banking, document printing. Here, you have to make sure in the document type field, checks for payment is selected. And you can actually review other parameters. For example, posting date, you can select from 1102 in this case to 1107. And the print checks field also have to be selected, and it has to be the to be printed selection there. And you have to make sure you have bank account, in this case, Bank of New York, account number, and due date from, in this case, we already put 01/01/2022 to 12/31/2022. Okay, we hit okay. Here we have the 4 payments that I mentioned. Now, if for some reason I decided not to print one of the checks, so then I deselect the payment that I don't want to print. In this case, we're going to select all of them. So we're going to print all of them. We're going to print to PDF. So the system is telling me to make sure that the printer has the Bank of New York stock paper, and I have a check number, or we started with the check number 1051. Choose OK when ready, or cancel to stop printing. So we are OK. So we hit OK. Now the check number confirmation window appears, and we're gonna, since everything is OK with the check, we're gonna select confirmed because it's not damaged or not printed. So everything is good with the check. So we're gonna select confirmed for each one. Confirmed, confirmed. Update. It is very important to mention that by selecting the overflow check stock, if the payment has more than the maximum lines predefined, the system will automatically print the next check number on my second printed document as void. For instance, my starting new check is 1051. So that check will be printed on my first printed document as regular. But my next check number, which is 1052, will print as void on my second printed document. So let's show you that. Let's go to banking, check for payment. Let's bring the last previous record. What I did is I actually pay several invoices for this payment purposely, because I wanted to show you how this overflow check stock works. Okay. We go to preview from my toolbar. And here, as you see on my first page, on my first printed document, I have the 10 first lines. I have my check here printed as regular. And on my second page, I have the remaining lines and my next check shows as void. How to troubleshoot printing a check that has been placed in not printer status. As you see, we are in the last step to print a check, but my check didn't print because it printed on a blank paper in my non-defaulted printer. The mistake here was that I didn't put the check stock paper in the right printer. Now, to finish this last step, we're going to hit update. And by doing this, the check will appear on the check register report as not printed, which I'm going to show you right now. So we're going to go to the check register report, which is under reports, banking, check register report. Okay, we're going to hit OK. Okay, here we have the report. And as I mentioned before, we have this check that I tried to print. Remember, the check is not going to show up here. The check number is going to show up here yet because it's not printed yet. So it's actually in not printer status right now. Now we're going to change this status by printing the check again. How can I do it? So we're going to close this report. I'm going to close this window. Okay. Now, in order to use the check number 1032 in this case, for this example, we have to follow 3 steps. So my first step is we have to make sure that we change the configuration in these 3 sections that I'm going to show you. The first section that we're going to go is the print preferences. How we're going to do this? We're going to go to administration, system initialization, print preferences, and here in the per document tab, we're going to switch this selection and we're going to check off this section, which is blank paper. Okay, that's my first step. We close this window, you save the changes. Okay, don't pay attention to this red message on the bottom. So it's actually took the update. So we're going to close this window. And now we're going to go to my second step, house bank account. Okay, here I use this bank, Bank of New York. And here, as you see, that's my next check number. So what I'm going to do, after I change the paper type, which is have to be changed, and I'm going to select black paper. After I select that under paper type, I change the check number, and I'm going to enter the number that I used before, 1032, tab. We hit update. Okay. Now we're going to continue with my third step, which is the check for payment. So we go to check for payment. I select the previous record from the toolbar to bring up the last payment. In this case is 1062, 1,200, which is the one that we need. Okay, in order to complete the third step, we have to check off this box, print on blank paper, and print the check. So for that, we have to go to the icon here the print icon from the toolbar. In this case, I'm just going to select print to PDF. Hit print. Okay. So now we're going to hit OK. Of course, the check number confirmation window will not appear here because the system already print the check number 1032, which we're going to see right now on the check register report. So we're going to go to the check register report. Register report here. We're going to hit OK. And we're going to look for our check number. 1032 for 1,200, and it's already confirmed. Just remember that after reprinting a not printed check, you need to change the selection to the original configuration in order to continue with the regular check printing process. The log check printing feature, it's a great benefit. This feature is locked automatically to prevent simultaneous printing or updating of checks for the same account by multiple users. Sometimes users are get kicked out of SAP while in the middle of the check run, and when they're trying to log back into SAP and trying to print the checks, they are unable to select the checks under the check. The solution for this, when it occurs, open up the house bank account setup, which we're going to do it right now. We're going to go to the modules section. We're going to go to administration, setup, banking, house bank account. Here, you just have to scroll all the way to the right. And if you see that the log checks printing is selected, just simply uncheck it. You see it right now that it's grayed out because I'm not in that situation right now, but I'm just explaining to you in case you have issues printing the checks, you should come here and solve it this way. So you just uncheck it, but if you are a user who doesn't have the privilege to perform this function, then you will have to request from another user with higher privileges to perform this function. So once you do that, you will uncheck this box and you just hit update. Once you hit update, you just close this window. And then you can go back to the document printing, which we go right now, administration. I'm sorry, administration, banking, document printing, and you have to make sure that the document type is selected. So you select checks for payments, and the rest of the criteria you will have to select for the checks that you want to print. So we're going to hit OK. And here you're going to be able to now print the checks. Being aware that this checkbox is on the house bank account saves time in troubleshooting and is a simple fix.